you should know about Pernick. Pernick offers .com names at a great price with quality service you expect. Because Pernick is powered by internet leader Pair Networks. Whether you need a domain name for business or personal use, Pernick is your best choice. Remember Pernick when you need a domain name. That's PAIRNIC.com. Pernick.
KGUM FM, Dedido. Powered by Glimpses Media. The views and opinions expressed on this program are those of the show hosts, guests, and callers, and do not necessarily reflect the views of the staff or management of Wave 105.1 FM, Glimpses Media, or our partners. We strive to provide quality, respectful, and engaging content, and we welcome you to participate in the conversation. Thank you for tuning in to Wave 105.1 FM. Enjoy the show.
AP News, I'm Mike Hempen. Police say a man charged with starting one of the wildfires in Spokane, Washington, has admitted to the crime. The AP's Jennifer King reports.
Aaron Farinacci is being charged with first-degree arson for allegedly sparking the Old Trails fire currently burning in Spokane, as well as other fires in the summer of 2025. He was scheduled to be arraigned Thursday, but his lawyer is asking for a competency evaluation. He previously served a decade in prison after killing his adoptive father and shooting himself in 2010.
The court does find that there's a significant risk to community safety.
Judge Jeremy Schmidt
will set bond in the amount of $2 million.
According to court filings, County Detective Michael Drapeau says Farinacci confessed to the crime and planned it for weeks, looking up the work of a serial arsonist to make an incendiary device, and choosing August 1st because the forecast called for high winds. I'm Jennifer King.
Senator Marsha Blackburn has won the Republican primary in the race to succeed Tennessee Governor Bill Lee. Republicans have held the governor's office since 2011 and dominated statewide elections for the past couple of decades. Senator Mitch McConnell is returning to his home.
Kentucky Republican Senator Mitch McConnell says he's leaving a rehabilitation center and will continue his recovery from home. The 84-year-old former Senate Majority Leader was first admitted to a hospital almost 2 months ago. McConnell disclosed weeks later he fell and was undergoing physical therapy. He gave no specific date for his return to the Capitol, but senators are expected to leave Washington soon for the traditional August recess. McConnell's absence shrinks the Republican majority in the Senate. He is determined to finish out his 7th term, which ends in January. Ed Donahue, Washington.
Republican Senator John Husted of Ohio is calling on Representative Max Miller to resign his House seat and abandon his re-election bid this fall. This is AP News. AP correspondent Donna Warder reports on a vaccine for people with a family history of cancer.
Scientists are working on creating preventative vaccines for people with Lynch syndrome, a family history of cancer, especially colon cancer. Stacy Norton, a doctor at Houston Methodist Hospital, is taking part in one of 2 U.S. studies to develop a vaccine.
In my 3rd year of medical school, I recall hearing a lecture from one of my internal medicine professors about Lynch syndrome. And I thought to myself, wow, I think my family has that.
Dr. Eduardo Villar Sanchez does research at UTMD Anderson Cancer Center in Houston.
We are cautiously optimistic because we have seen a lower frequency of advanced lesions in the colonoscopies of the participants after the vaccination.
Dr. Norton says so far her colonoscopies have come back with no polyps. I'm Donna Warder.
I'm Mike Hempen, AP News. AP.
As Guam recovers from Super Typhoon Bavi, GTA is here to help you stay connected and keep you moving. For a limited time, get $400 off any new premium smartphone with eligible plans. Or bring your own phone to GTA and receive up to $300 in account credits. To support your recovery, you'll also receive a free $100 76 fuel gas card. Terms and conditions apply. Visit any GTA retail store today. GTA, we start with you.
Half a day. I'm Clint Rigel, and I'm running for senator. If you're looking for proven, effective leadership, vote for me, and let's grow Guam together. I'm Clint Rigel, and I approve this message.
Need a truck that works as hard as you do? Then head to Triple J Ford's Big Deals on Big Wheels sales event. For a limited time, score prices below dealer cost and drive home America's best-selling truck for 49 years. The legendary Ford F-150 starting at just $39,995. Choose from the rugged XL, stylish STX, or well-equipped XLT. All backed by the strength, capability, and innovation only Ford delivers. But don't wait. All stock must go. Visit Triple J Ford in Upper Tumont or get pre-approved and shop online at triplejguam.com. Triple J Ford, customers first.
Eat fresh in just a few clicks. Order online at subwaypacific.com for pickup or delivery. Online ordering at subwaypacific.com is powered by Good to Go. We deliver. At Subway, you gotta refresh to be fresh.
Anything's possible. I push to the limits. I climb every wall. I keep on believing. Anything's possible.
If there's one thing we've learned, it's never to underestimate the spirit and strength of the people of our island home. Which is why at Bank of Hawaii, you, your dreams, and your possibilities will always have a home. Reach your possible with Bank of Hawaii. Member FDIC.
Half a day, I'm Callan Perez and I'm running for senator. Service to our island has shaped my life, from community advocacy and substance abuse recovery to supporting sustainable agriculture. Inspired by my parents, Dr. Perez and Dr. Erickson, I remain committed to serving the people of Guam. I'm Callan Perez and I approve this message.
The Edge of Heaven, Friday from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. introduces you to the fifth dimension, where you find a greater appreciation for everything in your life. Find more consciousness of the bigger picture. Bring yourself more power, along with the intuition on how to guide that power, bringing you to a place of independent contentment. Give you the key to overcome sorrow, always encouraging honesty and self-acceptance, revealing that everything you seek outside yourself is right inside. Your limited identification will dissolve, and it will expand into a greater field of awareness. You will realize and remember that it is all God, even when it doesn't feel like God. Every Friday evening from 6 to 8 on Wave 105, join Rand and Jenny Kaufman for The Edge of Heaven, sponsored by Jay Goodman and Osmujao Community School.
So, what's your idea of a 10?
I love guys who don't text and drive.
Girls that wait until they're parked to text? Bro, instant 10.
I don't know, but I got the ick when I went out with this boy who texted while driving.
10s wait to send. Eyes on the road, not your phone.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
The views and opinions expressed on this program are those of the show hosts, guests, and callers, and do not necessarily reflect the views of the staff or management of Wave 105.1 FM, Glimpses Media, or our partners. We strive to provide quality, respectful, and engaging content, and we welcome you to participate in the conversation. Thank you for tuning in to Wave 105.1 FM. Enjoy the show.
Here for the community. Wave 105 FM. Hey.
Once again, thank you so much for hanging out with us here on Wave 105. Biba Badness! Biba! It's Friday, and once again, we start our Fridays with the Guam Behavioral Health and Wellness Center. We have the whole hour to talk with our friends that are partnering up with Guam Behavioral Health and Wellness Center. And so we'll start with introductions. Actually, no, sorry, I went too fast. We'll start with our sponsor mentions. And so we do want to thank all of our sponsors, which includes Chili's Grill and Bar. Chili's, more life, great food and memories happen here. Micro Pack for sound tech and everything in between. Think Micro Pack. Subway, you got to refresh to be fresh. Triple J. It's big deals on big wheels at Triple J Ford. Save thousands off retail and drive home a new Ford F-150 starting at just $39,995. Visit Triple J Ford today. Customers first, and GTA, we start with you. And so like I mentioned earlier, we are here with doing the Guam Behavioral Health and Wellness Center Hour. We do this every Friday at 2 p.m. And so today we're going to be talking about back to school stress. And so I wanted to introduce our guest. We'll start from my left. GDOE counselor, right? Nadine Cepeda?
I'm the lead district school psychologist.
Psychologist. There you go. And then members from Project Path, and that's Hope and Victoria. Yes. Half a day.
Half a day, everyone. Glad to be here.
Half a day.
And so, what schools do you go to?
So I attend St. John's as a senior.
Okay, nice.
I go to JFK. I'm going into my junior year.
All right. Do you know each other?
No.
This is the first time you're meeting?
Yes.
Wow. That's really cool. I love that. And so maybe even before we start, can you just give me a better understanding of what Project Path is?
All right. So Project Path is a group of high school students. So we kind of represent role models for other youth, and we can help educate each other on drug awareness and mental health awareness and just how to live a better lifestyle.
Okay, Hope?
And Project PATH stands for Preventing Addiction Through Health Empowerment. And so we just take, as high schoolers, we try to take a high school perspective and just introduce living a better life without the reliance of drugs.
How did you find out about this program?
So I learned about it through Paradise. She introduced the project to me when it first started out, and since then we've done a lot of education classes and just learned about it.
For me, I learned through my upperclassmen at St. John's,
Okay.
Jamie Shu, who introduced me to the program, and to Miss Perry.
That's very cool. I believe we have also a guest on the phone, too, representing Guam Behavioral Health and Wellness Center, and this is Chelsea Naismith.
Hi, good afternoon.
Hi, Chelsea. Everybody can hear her okay, yeah?
Yeah.
Chelsea, if you want to introduce yourself as well. Thank you so much for joining the conversation over the phone.
Yeah, of course. Hi, everybody. How's-a-day. My name is Chelsea Neesmith. I'm a social worker here at Guam Behavioral Health and Wellness Center, and I'm actually with the Child Adolescent Services Division, and I've been here for going on 7 years.
Well, thank you so much. So we're just going to unpack a lot of the back-to-school stress because we're just a few more days away. When does St. John start school? I feel like you're in uniform already.
Yeah, so we had our orientation today.
Okay.
And then our first full day of school will be next Monday.
Okay, so it's about the same.
Yes.
All right. And so, with us just being a couple days away from the start of the school year, back to school means new school supplies, catching up with friends. It also brings a massive wave of stress for students, parents, and teachers across our island. And so today, once again, we're unpacking the back to school stress from a mental health perspective. And so again, thank you all for being here with us. And so I wanted to start with you, Nadine. You're the expert, right? And so when we look at all the things that we kind of just talked about leading up to this first day, how do you assist, and how do school psychologists help with managing stress?
Well, first of all, over the summer, we're 12-month employees, so we still see our clients if they're getting services over the summer. Nice. That's one. But, these opportunities to really reach out to as many parents and as many students, but more importantly is getting it to be normalized. The sleeping habits of staying up late, really working on it and saying, you need to start preparing to sleep early. Yeah. And so when you think about that, I think we have to do self-care as providers, but more importantly, I think this is the big rush of parents stressing out because they need to get so many other supplies, prepare them as the food, just what parents and caregivers have to do, or legal guardians. So I like to reach out and tell the parents, breathe. You've done this. It's not your first rodeo. And if it is, you're going to be okay. You're not alone. Let's start with that.
Right.
But to start normalizing the sleeping patterns, start sleeping early. Parents, do your due diligence. Have them sleep early so they can have enough sleep so their mind and their thoughts can be clear to learn. and where they're rested and they're prepared. Have them get up and early to have a routine set a week prior. We're past that week. We're starting Monday. So
Right.
if you haven't, do it this weekend.
Yeah.
But, I think everyone, even if you go through it, a lot of people are anxious and they probably don't even know how that feels, right? They don't identify that. But it's normal to feel anxious. It's about preparing and how do you normalize the preparation to get back into as a family for parents and the students.
Right. Chelsea, you're still with us, right? Chelsea?
Yes, I'm here.
Hi.
Yes, I'm here.
And so as we have
Hi.
this conversation, I wanted to get your perspective as well over at Guam Behavioral Health and Wellness Center. And so what is it that you're seeing with your consumers and how do you assist?
Yeah, kind of just like what Ms. Nadine was mentioning, working with our clients and reminding them that, yes, going back to school is, and having anxieties about that is normal, part of the normal human reaction to, going back to school. But just like she mentioned, adjusting their sleeping habits. And then also just, it takes some time to adjust back from a full summer of staying up late. And now they're going to have to sleep early to catch the bus or, to get dropped at school. But once they settle in their routines and, and all of those routines of going back to school is established, then kids start to, the anxiety starts to release in a sense. So that's kind of like what we remind our clients, this is a normal feeling to have.
Understood. And so for Hope and Victoria, how do you balance all of this, right? I mean, are you in sports? Are you in clubs? I mean, you're obviously in this project path, right? And so how do you balance your daily lives as you, not even just the beginning of the school year, but throughout the school year? And maybe there are parents and even their children are listening to this conversation.
So I think time management is very important, and just knowing that you have support around you, like friends and family that you can reach out to and ask for help.
Yeah.
All of that's very important to stay balanced within the school year, especially currently I'm playing volleyball and then I also have school on top of that and then extracurriculars such as this.
Yeah.
So it's just very important for me to keep in touch and communicate with my mom, for example, who can help me time manage and get on top of all of my priorities.
Victoria?
Yeah, for me too. I also play sports. I also play volleyball. So
you guys compete against each other?
We probably will.
We will.
Yeah. But yeah, it's hard to balance things. So time management is really, really important as a student, especially student athletes.
Right.
And even my friends who are in student council, you really just have to rely on your resources. So for me, my parents who can give me rides to all my practices and who encourage me to get on top of my homework, it helps out a lot.
Yeah. And so talk to me about resources. Who are your resources that, most people may not even know is available? Like sometimes we don't even know that we have a school psychologist that can assist. And a lot of times for you, right, you're assisting not just GDOE students, right? They're all students because every child is important in all the school systems, right? And I'm sure that you've partnered in so many ways, right? And so what are some of those resources that we may not know about that are available that you know
of? Personally, I have a school counselor as well as my school principal, Mr. Kelly, and they're very open to talk to. But even just my teachers, I think if you just ask, you'd be surprised how willing people are able or how willing people are to help, and they're just very helpful and they really want to see you succeed and do the best that you can. So I just really appreciate that and being able to ask people for help.
Right. Victoria?
Yeah. I agree. My school counselors are always there if I need help on how to balance my classes and how to balance my sports. Even my coaches are very understanding if I tell them, hey, I have this project I really need to focus on. Can I miss practice to do that? They're usually really understanding about that because you're always a student before the athlete. So I can rely on my coaches and my counselors and even my friends, and that's why this PATH project is good because we can rely on each other. So if I needed help managing my time and I wasn't sure what to do, I could reach out to another student athlete and say, what do you do when you need help time managing?
And Chelsea, as you're listening to as well, right? I mean, I'm sure that you are a big resource, right?
Right.
At Guam Behavioral Health and Wellness Center. And so sometimes it can also be a stigma to reach out to Guam Behavioral Health and Wellness Center, you know? And so if you can kind of just share, you know, the importance of the work that happens there, especially in your division, and the reasons why it's totally safe, especially for youth, right? I mean, it's a safe space. Anytime we go to a counselor, teachers understand that they can feel safe when they have something that is concerning them to speak with them. I'm sure there's so much training that is involved, right? I'm sure there's training between you and your team with school psychologists and vice versa, right?
Yeah, so I just want to also mention we do have the 988 crisis hotline. That's a big resource that we have here at Guam Behavioral that anybody can call, text, or chat, and it could be completely anonymous. So if, kids are having anxieties about anything really, or having mental health issues, then they can always use that as a resource, the 988 crisis hotline. And if they feel like they are in need of more services, then Guam Behavioral is open 24/7. And at the department, we actually do screening. So once you get screened, they will be referred to the specific program. And once we get it here at the Child Adolescent Services Division, then our counselors will do their proper assessments and make the recommendations and make the proper referrals for that specific client, consumer. So yeah, there's, we have resources and people to talk to.
Nadine, you want to touch on that?
Yeah, definitely. I wanted to add that people don't realize they are a source of resource. Let me just start off by the most important thing is about rapport. It's about trusting an adult. That's the key. Because once someone connects with someone they trust, it opens lots of doors. And that's where that conversation starts. Because most oftentimes they don't even understand that. Why am I feeling this way? The sweaty palms, the worry. It's just opening that conversation, and it's a normal conversation, not to put a label of your mental health. Because even asking for help from a school psychologist, something is psychologically wrong. Oh, you have a disability. Not necessarily. And that's where we have to have that moment to educate them that everyone just needs someone to talk to. So not only a school psychologist, right? I'm at basically the mental health expert with testing in the school system. But once that does, there's so many programs that students don't know. But when you allow yourself to ask, and that's just the key, is to ask a trusted adult, everything falls into place. We don't want to leave any child behind. But it's scary when you are looked at and saying, I don't need that help, because it goes back to culture. This macho-misu, masculinity traits. We need to, I get it, culture is important, and I would never disregard. But more importantly, we need to think about why am I feeling this? If it's not normal to constantly worry or want to be laughed at to try to avoid something, that it's normal to feel that way. If it's too much, please turn to somebody. And I'm glad you're recognizing shout outs to school counselors, teachers, but those are resources, and then they can give you programs.
Right.
So
I think even school nurses, right? Nurses and teachers, they're very a trusted profession, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's just unfortunately, I'm going to be frank, when I work with these students,
yes,
they don't sometimes relate to their teachers and they feel like they're being picked on. And that's a discussion that we need to have.
Right.
If you're feeling that way, what's going on? Right. And we need to use the trauma-focused lens.
Okay.
We don't know what people have been through. And if what trauma is, it's interesting. I've been doing training all week, so I'm quite exhausted, but I did it with charter schools.
Right.
I came from JQ San Miguel and with the school counselors.
Yeah.
And the truth is, we need to look at trauma-informed approach, that every child had some exposure or an event. This is really what trauma is, their experience, and is it affected them? We don't know that. I could tell you now, DOE has a lot of students who don't have homes. They have actually told me they come into the schools hungry and they want to come to school to be fed, or they have AC because they don't have utilities at home. That is the reality. So they're looking at DOE in their school for a safe haven or a safe place to protect them. So we even got to stick to the basic, because when we start to look at other things, like, thank God, right? St. John's is a privilege. Going to JFK, that's one of our better high schools. So when we think about that, we're wanting to open that opportunity for all our students to know that you matter, your mental health matters, and we're here to support you. But you need to ask for the help and don't have to act out, because it hurts when you're acting out. And that's all they know. We got to teach them how to communicate, how to reach out and get the mental health that they need, because that's what that is. Because you cannot learn if you're not healthy, mind, body, and spirit. It's all connected. So that's my spill. And I'm passionate about this because I love when students thrive. This is a great leader. In fact, a grant that I just put money into, Hope's Dealers, is the same thing you guys are doing. That they're turning it around and saying, you don't need to turn to drugs, but we're wanting you to be hopeful. So it's this positivity of these students and youth, that these are the ones that are leading our future. And they're powerful with their peers.
Yeah. And sometimes they can't trust an adult at all. And so the peers are somebody that they can relate to even more.
Yeah.
And so I love that there's a program that exists like Project Path, because now they're also giving you a skill set. So when there is an individual that is going through the anxiety or is having troubles at home, they can go to a peer like yourself. And then you can always direct them to the 988 number, direct them to a psychologist, to a trusted counselor. This is the person that I trust. And so it all goes a long way. I really appreciate the fact that we're even just having this conversation. It's important, right? It's because what we're creating too is a healthy society.
Absolutely.
Right? And so I'm curious too, because sometimes it's not even just like the first day. Sometimes there's things that are happening structurally that isn't normal. And so as the GDOE psychologist, are you getting more people, more students concerned as to double sessions, Tizan and Simon Sanchez joining together and not necessarily knowing what that even looks like? That can be added stress too, right?
Absolutely. And then I think we won't even know that until they actually start school.
Right.
Because I know they were talk at the end of the year.
Yeah.
And oh my God, they're going to have fights and riots because territory, Guam is very territorial, like, oh, I'm from here. And so I think they carefully crafted as best as they can. They had a task force saying, how can we reduce that? Because you can't avoid, right? You can do whatever you can do to prevent it.
Right.
If it happens, then what do? We need to be on top of it. And I think the task force has been addressing that. And when you talk about that stress, we'll see when school comes, but we are prepared to respond. And I think it's an opportunity to really teach these kids, and I shouldn't say kids, they're students because they're young adults, but more importantly that they need to take ownership of their own school. And if we act out, how do you expect to honestly be ready for life? Because we all can get angry. I get angry every day. But what do I do with that?
Sure.
Right?
And it's not a new situation either. When I look at the Southern High, right? And so they were integrating in Arahan High School, right? With Ocean View. There was a lot of anxiety there, not just with the students, but teachers and parents as well. And so if we can just continue to have dialogue, right? Healthy conversations, I think we can better understand some of the challenges that everybody's facing and come together, right?
Bingo.
Yeah.
Because the word is uncertainty. The deep-rooted issue is fear.
Yeah.
When you're uncertain, wait, this is new to me.
Right.
So what you just said is healthy dialogue.
Yeah.
That's the kind of conversations we need to have.
Right. And so, Chelsea, you there?
Yes, I'm still here.
Yeah, and so when we're watching for changes in baseline behavior, right? Clinical anxiety in youth, they often show up physically or behaviorally rather than through words, right? And so what should we be looking out for?
Yeah, so sometimes there's like physical signs, right? Maybe the child or student might complain about their stomach hurts or they're having headaches and like just not, expressing that they don't want to go to school. Or even there's, sometimes we'll see behavioral signs where they're, more angry, emotional, they'll be more irritable, or they'll just be completely withdrawn from, whether it's hanging out with friends or hanging out with their family. So just being mindful of those signs and their behaviors, and then also if they're having trouble sleeping, having the ability to fall asleep, or maybe having nightmares, or waking up and panicking. But those are just some of the things that we can look out for.
Okay, and sometimes there can be a stress spillover, right? And maybe you can help us explain that too, and have our students as well share the importance of having healthy conversations with their parents, because they are also trying to manage stress, right?
Yeah, I think it's very important to be able to confide in an entrusted adult.
Yeah.
Just because they're not only able to help us, but we're also being taught how to deal with stress and how to help others deal with stress. And so when we are able to have these healthy conversations and dialogue, we're able to help others and then again create that healthy society that we were talking about.
Yeah. I think also sometimes I have to check myself too. My kids, my youngest has just graduated high school, so now I have 3 kids in college. But sometimes I have to check myself too, right? Because sometimes I add on to some of that stress by leaving the house late, and now I'm like swerving or whatever, right? And like, oh my goodness, what's going on? Not realizing in the back, my kids are like, you're just adding more stress to what I got going on too.
Right.
Right. And so a lot of times we're not necessarily paying attention to like the bigger picture and how my emotions or some of the things that I'm saying is going to affect the people that are in the car with me. And road rage is a real thing, right?
You look young, by the way. I was like, you have 3 college students?
This doesn't make me look like Santa Claus.
Oh, no. You don't have wrinkles is what I'm saying.
My wife and I, we started young, which actually benefits us now, because now, I don't have to cut the yard anymore. There's a lot of work that gets done around the house. But if I know it's time to take the break, but Chelsea, if there's anything that I might have missed that we've already talked about, I definitely want to keep. I don't want to get into the weeds of anything. So, did we miss anything so far, or can we move on?
I think we're doing great.
We're doing great. What about the two of you? Or is there anything else that we might have missed on just trusting, having healthy conversations and whatnot?
I think the only thing I would add on is, I get that parents can be, worried for their kid. Are they going to make good grades? Are they going to pass their classes? But there needs to be that trust built between the kid and the parent. So the parent can trust, okay, my kid is going to get their work done. They are going to wake up on time.
Sure.
But the kid also has to prove to their parents that they are trustworthy. So it's just this built on trust that you have to have with each other in order to have a stress-free, anxiety-free school year.
I'd love to unpack that more if that's okay, right? After the break, if that's all right?
Okay, sure.
Yeah? Okay. So 2:32 in the afternoon, we'll take this quick break. Once again, Guam Behavioral Health and Wellness Center hour every Friday. And so we'll unpack the conversations of maybe a parent is trying to push their child in a direction and live vicariously through them, and how much that can also add some more stress on a adolescent. And so we'll do that on the other side of these.
Eat fresh in just a few clicks. Order online at SubwayPacific.com for pickup or delivery. Online ordering at SubwayPacific.com is powered by Good to Go, We Deliver. At Subway, you gotta refresh to be fresh.
Need a truck that works as hard as you do? Then head to Triple J Ford's Big Deals on Big Wheels sales event. For a limited time, score prices below dealer cost and drive home America's best-selling truck for 49 years. The legendary Ford F-150 starting at just $39,995. Choose from the rugged XL, stylish STX, or well-equipped XLT. All backed by the strength, capability, and innovation only Ford delivers. But don't wait. All stock must go. Visit Triple J Ford in Upper Tumon or get pre-approved and shop online at triplejguam.com. Triple J Ford, customers first.
As Guam recovers from Super Typhoon Bavi, GTA is here to help you stay connected and keep you moving. For a limited time, get $400 off any new premium smartphone with eligible plans. Or bring your own phone to GTA and receive up to $300 in account credits. To support your recovery, you'll also receive a free $100 76 fuel gas card. Terms and conditions apply. Visit any GTA retail store today. GTA, we start with you.
At Bank of Hawaii, we want to help make the goals you're saving for possible. Great rates are possible because you'll earn up to 5 times the national average on savings when you make a qualifying deposit of $25,000 from another bank. And flexibility is possible because you can access your savings anytime and still earn one of our highest rates.
Anything's possible.
Open a Bank Ohana savings special today and reach your possible. Rates based on the FDIC's national deposit rates. Terms and conditions apply. Visit boh.com/savings special.
Half a day, I'm Callan Perez and I'm running for senator. Service to our island has shaped my life, from community advocacy and substance abuse recovery to supporting sustainable agriculture. Inspired by my parents, Dr. Perez and Dr. Erickson, I remain committed to serving the people of Guam. I'm Callan Perez and I approve this message.
It all connects. The girl who walks for hours to bring home the family's water, the school she can't attend most days, the breakfast she didn't have, the rain that hasn't fallen in months, the danger around the next bend, her little brother's belly laugh, her mother's hug, her dreams of being a teacher, an engineer, the mayor. All the reasons life is both so hard and so beautiful. It all connects. But so do we, for children's sakes. At Child Fund, we connect through everything we do, together, so every child can grow up healthy, educated, and safe. Because we need each other. Learn more at childfund.org.
Half a day. I'm Clint Rigel, and I'm running for senator. If you're looking for proven, effective leadership, vote for me, and let's grow Guam together. I'm Clint Rigel, and I approve this message.
KGUM-FM, Dedito, the talk of Guam. This is Wave 105.1 FM, a Glimpses Media radio station.
Welcome back to the show. This is Wave 105, and it is the Guam Behavioral and Wellness Hour. Standing by, leading the way, Mr. Paulie Suba. Once again, I just want to thank our guests for coming in studio. Hope, Victoria, Chelsea, you're good, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Chelsea?
Yeah.
Hello, Chelsea?
Hi.
Hi, Chelsea. There you go. And Miss Nadine, she'll be right back into the studio. But again, we're having the conversation about balancing back to school stress. And Hope brought up something that I wanted to unpack even more. Is sometimes there are expectations, added expectations from parents or role models, right? And saying, hey, I lined up your whole school schedule for you. What do you think? You know, and so... we don't have to go into details, right? But just generalizing, why is it important that you have like more autonomy, that you have more, that people kind of step back, even like maybe a parent like myself, right? To allow my child to pick the things that they want to do rather than I pick for them.
Well, of course, it's always going to be hard to ask a parent, to step back and let their child become more independent. But it's very important as from the youth perspective to figure out what you would like to do in life, because it's your life that you're living, not your parents. However, you just have to, you need the right guidance, of course. So parents are going to have an influence in your life. But you need to be,
And most especially within the school life.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not even talking about like outside and whatnot, and everybody has responsibilities. But in your school life, like clubs and sports and whatnot, is really what I want to focus on. Yeah.
I see. So within school life, it's important to have like really good role models around you, and just people that you can be able to learn from and almost try to model your life after.
Yeah.
So it's great to have entrusted adults to speak to like that.
Yeah. For me, my parents are really supportive in what I want to do. So for my classes, they let me make up my schedule, and I just tell them how it's going, and they support me. And for me, I learn my best when I'm learning about something I'm really interested in.
Yeah.
So I'm really interested in nursing. So I'm in my nursing class, and none of my family are nurses. No one's in that medical field. But when I told them I wanted to do that class, they were really supportive about it. And because I'm really interested and I really love learning about that stuff,
Sure.
I perform well in those classes. So I'm just, really lucky that my parents are supporting me in that and pushing me to do what I want to do. And they do the same for my sports. None of my family plays volleyball, but they were very supportive when I told them I wanted to play.
Yeah.
So it's really just, support your kids and their passions and what they want to do, and they'll probably perform better doing the things that they actually enjoy doing, because that's how all my peers work as well.
I love that. Support goes a long way, right? And so, Nadine, when we were in the break, you talked about everybody has a role to play, right?
Absolutely. I was talking about, interesting, going back to what came up was you were talking about your kids in the car. And as a family therapist, a licensed family therapist, we look at the family systems theory. And what we're really saying is that if one in the system, so your wife and your 3 kids, if one is having anxiety or stress, it impacts you and your other kids. And so part of it in the therapy is looking how the system, and we reference that family being a system using that theory, how do we work that out? Because everyone plays a role. So if you think how in a school family, we all play a role. And so this is where we have to kind of equip our students to learn how to, 1, communicate, 2, coping skills, because everyone gets angry, 3, handle disappointment. So it goes back to emotional quotient, be able to regulate based on what your expectations are, being disappointed and so forth. But it really does impact the system. And that's how we have to look at it is, I'm part of the system. Everyone has a role in the system. Therefore, what do I need to do to help the system so we don't get, all impacted in the same way?
And the reality is in not just this community, but in many communities, there are families that are not together, and foster children per se, right? Yes. And so it's important too that we be more sensitive to people's realities, right? And
absolutely, their situation,
right?
What's happening. That goes back to using the lenses of trauma informed. How do we help people who have been displaced? And in fact, they're not at risk. They're displaced. They've been thrown, no longer with the family of supports. We've been talking about supports. That is a blessing.
Yes.
Let me be very clear.
Yes.
We can't do it without people. As social creatures at the highest form, we need each other to thrive. And if you don't have that support, that's why oftentimes we get clinically depressed.
Right.
And so, when we think about this, going back to like people in CPS and being in foster care, that are the not even at risk students that we need to help. Those are the ones that are struggling, and they often get into trouble, or they're cutting and we don't see it. These are where we need to show them, like, these are our role models, the 2 youth here. I mean, God, they're so energetic. I think they're amazing. I think they're going to be great leaders in our community. Hopefully they come back if you go off island or decide to stay here. Either way, this is the kind of stuff we need to model for the young ones that don't have hope.
Yeah, you guys left a great first impression.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as you came in and introduced yourselves, I was like, they're ready to go. They have done their homework.
Thank you.
You know, and so Chelsea, I wanted to get to engage with you as well, if that's okay.
Sure.
Yeah, and so as we talk about some of the realities and the importance of Guam Behavioral Health and Wellness Center, the importance of psychiatrists, the importance of experts, right? Because again, in our community, we have displaced individuals, right? And so if we don't have the experts, if we don't have the proper training or the skill set, what does that mean? Chelsea?
No.
Yeah, what does that mean? The importance of having these programs and resources available in our community, like at Guam Behavioral Health and Wellness Center, and then also working closely to the school psychiatrists.
Right. So we are talking a lot about, using natural supports and resources, but it is nice to have, a place like Guam Behavioral to have that added and extra support for the community because, we do offer, like the 988 crisis hotline. We do offer counseling services here in the children's division. And then I, as a social worker, we help, provide social services for our clients. So it is, like Miss Nadine was talking about, it takes a village, right, to help support kids. So just having that extra support in the community, such as us, it's great to have, and for the community to know that we are here and we are here to support them.
Mm-hmm. Are you able to break down what social jet lag is?
Social jet lag, you said?
Yes.
Yeah, so I guess what we can think of it is, with kids, right, they, all summer they're probably staying up late, on their phones, gaming, whatever it is, but then their internal body clock gets kind of thrown off when it's time to go back to school. So, some kids are having to wake up so early just to catch the bus or to get dropped to school. So, having that shift, it physically, your brain feels like it flew across time zones, right? So it's like a big shift and your body produces more cortisol. So it can add more, make someone more irritable and anxious. So it is a big shift and it takes time for kids to adjust. And that's why the first week can be pretty rough on the family is because people are adjusting to schedules, adjusting to routines, adjusting to sleep. So they had 2 months of summer vacation, but now it's time to get back into that school routine. So it's going to take some time to adjust.
Are you, Hope and Victoria, have you already adjusted? Is it realistic to go to sleep at 9 p.m.?
Well,
I'm groggy at 9. But
too. It's my age.
Yeah, I'm ready to just knock out. I'm ready to put Friends on and go to sleep.
I feel like if you have an extreme sleep schedule, it's going to be super hard to go to bed by 9 p.m. tonight.
Right.
But that's why, with my friends and I, what works for us is adjusting gradually and in small increments.
Yeah.
And so whether that means shifting our bedtimes up 20 minutes earlier every night, just each night for 1 week until we get to the proper bedtime, that works too. And also just putting our phones across the room, maybe 30 minutes before bedtime. Things like that will help you fix your sleep schedule, but it's going to be hard to fix it in one night. Yeah.
Have you noticed it work though? Like a proper sleep schedule before taking a test or playing volleyball?
Yeah.
Yeah?
For me, every time I know that I have an important day at school tomorrow or have a game coming up, I'll try and sleep no later than 10 o'clock, especially because before for JFK during double session, a lot of us have to wake up at 5 a.m. just to be ready to get to school by 6:40.
Right.
Some people have long drives that they have to take. Some people are out of district. They live all the way down south because maybe their parents are in GDOE, so they get to do that out of district. They have to wake up so early. So, yeah, sleeping early really does help for sports performance, for school performance, So taking tests, I'll always make sure I sleep on time.
Right.
So now during the summer, I know I have to start sleeping earlier again. So
Sure.
I'm still trying to do that thing where I don't sleep any later than 10:30. I try to sleep around 9:30 or 10, and I try to get up around 6 a.m., 7 a.m.,
Right.
just early hours, so I can kind of adjust myself to it.
I'm trying to go back to when I was in your shoes back into high school, and yeah, those days, especially first day of school, first week, I'm restless. And so, I mean, as the expert, right, school psychologist, it makes a difference, right?
Absolutely.
Sleeping schedule, yeah, proper.
I'm going to tell you the biggest issue when you have a mental health issue is not getting good sleep. So I always like to tell my clients or my patients is, how's your sleep? Because research showed that someone stayed awake for 7 days, did not sleep, had psychotic features and didn't have any mental health prior to that. But sleep is so critical. It keeps our mind rested and prepared, and it helps with our brain activity. Absolutely.
And Chelsea, obviously, you agree with all of those statements?
Oh, yeah. Sleep is very important.
Right. And so when we think about like realistic steps, like you had said, like Hope had said, like maybe shifting 20 minutes and whatnot, right? Do you have, like for me, Friends always puts me to sleep. I don't know, it's just like one of those like comfort things. It just gets me in the zone where I've watched this episode, I don't know, 50 times. And so it's not going to overstimulate me.
Right.
And I'm hearing my kids even talk about I'm overstimulated. What does that mean to the two of you being overstimulated?
I think being overstimulated is when there's just so much going on that it's hard for you to think straight. You can't focus. So if you're in class and you're trying to focus on your test, but there's someone talking next to you and there's some noise in the hallway, it can kind of distract you. So even when you're sleeping, when you're trying to focus on just closing your eyes and going to sleep, but maybe your sibling is still up and they're playing video games, or someone's playing music, or someone's light is still on, it can distract you from those things. So for me, if I'm trying to, calm myself down from being overstimulated, I like to listen to music. So before I sleep, I just play my music next to me. I try to play music that doesn't have a lot of lyrics so I don't get distracted. So even white noise or brown noise, things like that, can just kind of help calm you down and distract you from those things.
Hope, do you have any? I'm taking notes. I'm taking mental notes.
Personally, I have like a night routine, like you brush your teeth, wash your face, and then I just like to lay in bed like with a book or something, and then just without the screens to get your mind off all that, all this overstimulation that you're hearing. So yeah, a good book puts me to sleep.
Because it also, when I think about students as we prepare for a very important school year, right? It is about focusing, right? And so there's healthy, distractions, and then there are some that aren't very healthy, right? And so again, when we go back to what we were talking about, having conversations, dialogue with parents, people that we trust, and just not being afraid, normalizing the child psychiatrist, right? And normalizing Guam Behavioral Health and Wellness Center. That's all part of healthcare. Mental health is extremely important. It is also healthcare, right? And so, Chelsea, if you, is there anything else that you wanted to hone in on and focus more on that I might have missed on, and driving that thought of mental health is healthcare?
Yeah, it's like you mentioned, it is very important. It is just as important as medical, medical health. Mental health is very important. And just kind of for parents, being there for your child, especially in this adjustment period. And it is going to take some time, for kids to go back into this routine, but being that support, listening to them, just actively listening and not quick to, judge or, even just asking them how their day was can go a long way. At least the child, knows like, my parent is interested in my day, So, yeah, I just want to express, mental health is very important, and we need the community to know, that we are here for them. Crisis, I'm always going to shout out the 988 crisis hotline. So if anybody is, wanting to speak or talk to anybody, we are here for them, and as well as our other services here.
And Nadine, when you are with your clients, a lot of times it's the whole family, or it's the guardian, right, that you are also having conversations with, right?
Absolutely. You cannot address a student without the actual family system,
right?
Because they're back in the home environment,
right?
So we can do all this work with children, and when you work with the children or youth, they're actively placed in the home, therefore they're part of that system,
right.
So you cannot separate them. You really need to work with them,
right? And so you're probably giving them guidance too about how to, give their children validation. Right?
Absolutely. Parenting skills. How do we work out when you disagree with your child? And again, when you look at development, you need to look at where they are in their age group, right? Because you need to give them autonomy.
Right.
And oftentimes, unfortunately, I'm Chamorro, and people think that's scary, but no, it's actually healthy to give them the autonomy they need, because they're going to leave your home, right? And they're going to be adults, and you want them to be ready and prepared for life. And so when we work with parents, this is stuff that we again address, but sometimes it's a lot more deeper issues with substance. Unfortunately, our community is really,
absolutely,
it does impact their judgment, the relationship with their children. And so how do we work that? And it's about what is important to you. Let's get you better, so then you can get your children back or work towards that. But it's working on that individual, and then how does it impact the family?
Right. I wanted to also give you the opportunity to share with our audience, for those that don't know how it all works, to have conversations. Where's your office at?
Sure.
How do they get in touch with the child psychiatrist at GDOE? But then also charter schools reach out to you as well, and private schools. I don't know if there is a child psychiatrist.
They don't.
At the private schools.
They don't. Even charter schools don't have a school psychologist. I do know that we provided training, and I'm going to go back to what can we do? And you said to Chelsea, it's building capacity.
Yeah.
We can't do this alone.
Right.
We have so many talented people, smart people, and skilled people.
Right.
The problem is I'm aging out. So I need young people to get into the field, and I can help shape them in their career to build that skill level. And that's what I do, right? So the interesting thing is I sit in the Guam Valley Health Board, and I'm also licensed in California for a licensed marriage family therapist. It's not that I'm trying to throw it out. What I'm saying is I am very versatile, and I have really a comprehensive experience that I know I'm phasing out. So I'm trying to encourage people to get into the psychology field of it, because it's quite interesting. And if you love what you do, you will be passionate. It's not about the money. It all comes, the gratitude is seeing your clients do well. And so we are at Student Support Services. I'm at the central office. I do, go out in different schools to service. We do have a total of 4, so I have a team of 4. We're making some changes in DOE more towards the systems of support. But I work very closely with Guam Behavioral Health. And really, I was there for 15 years prior to moving to DOE. The work, we can't do it alone. That's why we can't do it in silos. Although we have mandates, we need to collaborate, partner up. Look how amazing this job is, Guam Behavioral Health, is having this pathway. And I think that can also, how do we get other students to jump on the wagon there, right? And so I think we can't do it alone. It's about building capacity and collaboration. And I work very closely with Guam Behavioral Health. We have a really good relationship. We got to continue to build that and really get to reduce the stigma so people can ask for help, have that healthy conversation, and know that the 988 is there, but know that we're also in the schools, and we're here to help.
There you go. Well, thank you so much for being here. Chelsea, is there anything else that you want to touch on? And obviously, we know that people can reach out anytime with the 988 number. And then, of course, when you're having these conversations, you always direct them to people like Nadine and others in the community and within the umbrella of Guam Behavioral Health and Wellness Center, so they can get the support
Right.
that they need, right?
Right. Yeah, we once they are, if you don't want services, then of course 90 is just there for text, call, chat. But if you are in need of more services such as like counseling or you need case management or other services, then we do have an adult section, and then we also have the children's division where I'm at. So there are resources out there that the community can avail to.
Well, thank you so much. Hope, is there anything that you'd like to share before I let you go? And I wish you both the very best in a new school year.
Thank you so much for having us here.
Yeah.
If you're a teen out there who wants to support mental health, please apply to become a youth ambassador. You'll help lead mental health initiatives. You can help break the stigma in our schools. But yes, please apply.
Yeah. If you're a teen, the program's a really good thing to join.
Yeah.
Because it's really good that you get to help educate your other peers on mental health awareness and drug awareness, but you also get to educate yourself, because we take a lot of education classes, and we'll have online meetings where they'll, educate us on something. So even I've learned a lot of new things just by being in this program. So I think it's a really good thing to join, and I think it's a really good outlet for students.
That's great. Did you say somebody's on the line?
Yeah, somebody's on the line.
Do you mind taking a phone call? KGUM FM in Denado, Guam. Go ahead, caller. You're on the air.
Yeah, Paula. So I just wanted to ask your guest today.
Okay.
So what do you call that? JFK is no longer a double session. So why is it that they start so early in the morning? And the reason why I ask this, because in the mental health and psychology and psychiatrists, it's a proven fact that retention and learning is better at later hours than it is early in the morning. So why are we still allowing kids to go super early?
I don't know
to a
what
single
time it
session?
is. Is it
We
6:45?
started- Yeah, for double session it was 6:40, and a lot
Now?
of people complained because we had to wake up so early, and
Yeah.
they said, okay, now it's 6:45,
So
so
it's-
it's only a 5-minute difference.
Okay.
So, I mean, even me, I'm lucky that I live near the campus,
Yeah.
and my parents are able to drop me to school in the morning, so I don't have to wake up early to catch the bus. But I have friends where their bus gets to their house by 6 a.m., by 5:30. So there's, high school students who are waking up at 5 a.m., 4 a.m., especially for the girls who like to
Right.
shower and do their hair. They have to wake up so early
Right.
just to get to school on time.
So right now, this school year, 6:45 a.m.?
Yeah.
Got it. Thanks, Joe, for the call.
All right, thank you.
Okay. And as the expert, right, that's something also that GDOE leadership has to decide, right? They're the ones that
Absolutely.
decide the school schedule. I know they work with DPW on the bus schedule, the bus.
You
there's
understand
variations,
that
right?
there's a whole lot of coordination. And,
Yeah.
it's great that parents are saying that, because the truth is, I would always say, if he was going to ask me, I'm going to say, I'm going to defer that to my superintendent,
Right.
because it's a lot of planning.
Right.
And it is, I'm going to tell you, my understanding is a lot of DPW, there aren't enough.
There's
'cause
not
they have to go
enough school bus
buses.
drivers either.
Correct.
Yeah.
To circle around and then get to middle school, because they
Right.
start at 8. So again, that's above my pay grade.
Right.
But there is a whole lot of coordination that goes in and discussion. And so it is hard.
Right.
It is really hard. I've heard it from students to get up. But again, I think there's other variations, as you said.
I think the town halls, the PTOs, those are outlets to where people can express their concerns. And I really appreciated when the student body shows up to these town halls. I've seen it all year last year when they have a concern with a number of objectives or mandates that they don't necessarily agree with. And that's all part of healthy discussions. That's all part of being active in your community, and so I appreciate those. Yeah, there's a lot of other things that come in play, because I do feel like we have to have a bigger conversation too with even the charter schools, because my heart goes out to charter schools where they have to go to, and private schools, there's a transportation center.
Yes.
They get picked up and they go to another spot, get out of that bus, and then get picked up and get taken to their school.
Correct.
And so we don't have the capacity for all of these students.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So obviously, Joe, you're on to something too. That's a conversation that we have to have as a community, as stakeholders. And so that's kind of outside of this conversation because we're bringing it back to Guam Behavioral Health and Wellness Center. And so all of these conversations are important. I really appreciate Chelsea. I don't think she's there anymore, but I appreciate her. I appreciate Kevin outside that always puts these things together. And I appreciate all of the people that are in so many important roles like yourself that is just getting the services to people that need it the most. And we never know what the next person is going through, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But you're not alone. Just going to say that. Most people think they're alone and they're not.
Right. So we're going to take the break. Thank you again.
Thank you.
I really appreciate the fact that you've made yourself available, right, to be here. I'm super grateful. Thank you.
Thank you.
We will take the break and we'll be right back. This is Wave 105.
Thank you.
AP News, I'm Mike Hempen. Police say a man charged with starting one of the